All right, here's the ACT warm-up number 6. Question number 1. If you recycle 2.5 aluminum cans, you save enough energy to run a TV for 10 hours. Marty's class recycled enough aluminum cans to run a TV for 2,080 hours. How many cans did his class recycle? Justify your answer. This is a classic proportion problem. You say 2.5 cans is to 10 hours as, so that's equals, Marty's class recycled enough aluminum cans to run for 2,080 hours. So 2080. We want to know how many cans his class recycled. And so you can solve a proportion by cross multiplication. That's going to be 10 times x. We say 10x equals 2.5 times 2080. Use your calculator to solve that. So I would do 2.5 times 2080, which is 5,200. And I would divide by 10. So use your calculator if you need to, but when you divide by 10, it's basically going to take that last zero off. So it's going to be 520. Question 2. The base of a triangular prism is a right triangle with hypotenuse 10 meters long. One leg 6 meters long and the other leg is 8 meters long. Right triangle. 6 meters, 8 meters. The legs are the ones that make the right angles. The hypotenuse is the longest side. And then that's a right triangular prism. So it's going to basically be a 3D model of this. We want to know what's going to be the volume of this thing. Well, let's start by knowing that the volume of the prism is the area of the base times the height of the prism. And the base is a triangle. So what is the area of a triangle? That is your base. That's going to be the 1/2 times the 6 times the 8. 1/2 times the base of the triangle times the height. So 1/2 times 6 times 8. Well, 6 times 8 is 48. Half of that's going to be 24. You can use your calculator if you need to, but the base of that is 24 square meters. So now let's look at the height of the prism. The height, it says the height of the prism is 12 meters. So that being 12, that's your height of the prism, how far it is between the two bases. So we're going to multiply that by 12, and that'll get you your volume. So in your calculator, 24 times 12, 288. So your volume is 288. And since it's in meters, it's going to be cubic meters. That's going to be your volume. Question 3. The birdhouse at Chantal's yard casts a shadow that is 13.5 feet long. Chantal casts a shadow that is 3.75 feet long. What's the height of the birdhouse? Again, we want to use a proportion for this. So the birdhouse casts a shadow that is 13.5 feet long. Shadow's on the ground. Chantal casts a shadow that's only 3.75. So she's a little bit smaller. What is the height of the birdhouse? Draw a picture and justify your answer. There's some missing information in this problem. Chantal needs to know how tall she is. She is 5 feet tall. So we're going to put Chantal's height, she's standing right here, as 5 feet. If you didn't have her height, you wouldn't be able to figure out the birdhouse's height. Okay, so the birdhouse is somewhere over here. We want to know that height. So we say birdhouse's height over 5, x over 5, is equal to the birdhouse's shadow over Chantal's shadow. And then you can cross multiply and solve the equation. So 3.75 times x is equal to 5 times 13.5. So let's use our calculator. 5 times 13.5 is 67.5. And then you can divide by 3.75 on each side to get your answer. So it turns out the birdhouse is going to be 18 feet tall. So 18 feet. Based on the data from 3 annual checkups, Jan's mean height is 62 inches. At the first 2 checkups, Jan's height was 58 and 61 inches. What's her height at the third? Mean is average. You get the average by adding everything up and dividing by how many there are. So if we know Jan's height was 58 and 61, and we don't know her third, so that's kind of like, we'll call that x, right? But we know if we divide that total by 3, we're going to get her average. So we're going to solve this equation. First, we're going to multiply both sides by 3. So we'll say 3, and then 3. 62 times 3 is 186. So now I have 58 plus 61 plus x. That's going to be 186. Now I can add these two together first. It's 119. And so I can just subtract from 186. And it looks like her third is going to be 67. So she was 67 inches. Ooh, that's a big discrepancy in her in her height, but that is right. 67 inches. That's Jan for her third. And our last question has 2 parts.